In a world where two retired vets decided their phone conversations about WWE and storylines would make a good podcast, only one podcast dares to predict the future, where every move, every feud, every moment is overanalyzed. Grab your number 2 pencils. Get ready to step into the squared circle. This is your front row seat to the storylines as you wish they were written. Welcome to the If We Had the Pencil podcast. Here are your hosts, Sean Green and Matt Jackson.
Well, as you can tell, we have a new intro now, so thank you AI-generated epic movie trailer voice for introducing us today. But, as was stated, I am Sean Green, your host, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Matt, the Road Warrior Jackson. How you doing, Matt?
I'm home. And to quote a Road Warrior, what a rush.
Yep.
But, hey, good, awesome trip, and you and I got to do a podcast last Saturday. Yeah, it was different. Let's just leave it at that. The longer, the more different it gets.
The informal format.
Yeah, but that'll probably be, when we get together type thing. But, yeah, it was a lot of control, but we had fun doing it, and I'm sure there'll be another one down the line, and maybe Matt will control himself a little bit better and act more adultish.
The standard has been set.
And look more at the green light.
Yeah. So, for those of you that may not be caught up yet, or maybe just jumped to this episode. So, the episode Matt's referring to is, there's a little backstory here. So, we recorded an episode. It was probably the best episode we recorded. So, of course, we had technical issues, and it all went to crap. So, only the first hour and 5 minutes was usable. So, fast forward. Matt's traveling. I had been on the road for almost the whole month of June. So we finally come together. He comes through my area. We're out in the woods with the camper, chilling, partying, and we recorded a pod for y'all. And it got interesting. And we did it intentionally because it was informal. And, well, it's the weekend. Got to have our 12-ounce curls. I got to get my workout in. So we got lots of curls in.
I still got like a little soreness from muscle failure from Saturday night, but plus it was 100 frickin' degrees that day, and we were outside all day watching the NASCAR race. Sean bought a new smoker and made his first ever brisket, and folks, the man's a fast learner. So excellent brisket, but we had a great time, and I really appreciate the fact that myself and Christy got to spend time with you, Katie, and the kids. It was a good weekend, folks. Makes you value your friendship when you get to see your friends. We don't see each other often, but we stay in touch. So it was cool. I got very few friends in life by choice, and I'm proud to have Sean as one of them.
Yep. And we got to share a special moment. So this one's going to be a little unique. So we did go over Smackdown a little bit in our the Great Outdoors episode. So coming back to that, we have to talk about one thing a little bit, maybe now that we're in our right frames of mind.
And the fact that if we pull shorts, we can actually see the person talking rather than elbows. And
that was a lesson learned, too.
Midnight Sky. Hey, we're new at this, folks. We might be old, but this is a new thing for us. But we'll figure it out. We were born on a day, just wasn't yesterday.
That is true. And to be honest, Matt, it was one of the coolest things. We saw something wrestling-wise for you and I that's probably one of the most historical moments that'll be talked about for quite a while, and we were hanging out together when we watched it. Yeah. And that was John Cena's pipe bomb. And the brilliance in the pipe bomb was not... It was what was said, but it was how it was a replication of the original pipe bomb twisted. And the details that went into that promo, the fact that they flipped everything, CM Punk through a table, Cena using all his words against him, the fact that it was Ron Killings, all those things, those little attention to detail things, made it so much more special.
I agree, because I didn't 100% catch it, because I did see the pipe bomb, but I couldn't remember what brought it to that. And when they, reminded us that it was Cena and our killings in Punk 14 years ago, it made it even more special. So, by the time we were talking about this last Saturday, yeah, Tito's had a good chokehold on me, and I think he was trying to turn it into an STF or crippling crossface or something. But anyway, now that I don't have Tito's bugging me tonight, I think we could probably talk a little bit more about the Cena pipe bomb. I thought it was great. I mean, you and I were popping throughout that whole thing. Like we're sitting outside the campground in lawn chairs, and like every time Cena would say something, we'd be like jumping up, like, "Oh, he just did that!" Like the fourth wall comment and Claudio Castiglio, and I like the
Nemeth drop. I was like,
yeah. And then who's the other? Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona wrestled the next night and grabbed the microphone while he sat on the turnbuckle, went up to the top turnbuckle, sat on the turnbuckle, grabbed the mic, looked at the camera, and said hi to John Cena. So that was pretty cool. So, yeah, if you look on YouTube, you can find it. Just search for Matt Cardona says hi to John Cena. It's just cool because this is a big moment in this. It was a big moment that last
was
Friday
huge.
night.
that is going to be the poster child for his entire heel run and his farewell tour. Like every little thing about it, we're still alive, baby.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Someone don't want to hear what I have to say. Like it was just, yeah.
nobody's going to come out and save you. Oh, God, it was brilliant. And if you haven't watched it yet, I don't know what the hell you've been doing with yourself. I've watched it at least like 10, 15 times. And I've also watched the comments about it because I think this is why IWC is not a real thing, right? Because it's not representative of the fans. It's not a true representation, right? You can't watch that promo and not see the absolute and utter brilliance in it. You know, what is Bully Ray, by the way? Hashtag busted open 24/7. You know, if you don't know about that, you need to find out.
Yes.
But what does Bully Ray always say on Busted Open? He always says, when it's real, it hits better and it's important. And like the beauty of when they were rehashing that was like LaGreca just running with the ball, and I was just sitting there like, preach, preach,
Yep.
preach. Like it was brilliant.
Yeah, the whole segment, it was great. It was as a wrestling fan, you always like to see something like that, especially when they call back something from that long ago. So some wrestling fans have short-term memories, but those of us who care and been following it, it's a big moment. So.
It was just, God, it was such an important moment, especially for this whole run, his farewell tour. It was an important moment, and I hope the match goes well. It's going to be interesting. Honestly, they did a really good job of making that Riyadh show important.
Yes,
And
they have.
There's a lot of important stuff going on.
And I think another thing about Cena, I don't think he gets his props. We talk about all-time mic greats. They always talk about Flair and Dusty and Austin and The Rock, and I put Jake Roberts up there and a few others. But, man, no one ever talks about John Cena. That dude is just, he's up there. He's definitely in the top 10 promo guys of all time.
Oh, top 5, dude. Top 5, period, and maybe number 1. Look, people
I'm not ready to go number 1.
I'll go number 1, because here's why. Right? Austin's way the hell up there. The Rock kind of is too. I think The Rock takes a nudge down a little bit because of John Cena. When John Cena called him out for having notes on his wrist, that was brutal. Now, I get it. You know, we all have seen like the follow-up to all that, and Cena was trying to get under his skin and everything else and whatever, right? I get it. But, like, that does take a hit, because I have never seen one wrestler that is so capable of turning on a dime mid-promo and take advantage of everything in his surroundings as John Cena. A lot of guys are good promos. There's a lot of guys that you will always remember their promos. And I'm sorry, man. Like, you watch Cena work. Like, if you just take him off the mic, and honestly, for me not having lived the Punk experience, so to speak, I can tell you Punk's probably way the hell up there too, because when they let Punk cook, whew, he cut some great promo stuff. The only time Punk sucks as a promo guy is when they cut him short. Like, when he's only got a minute to say something, it's not worth it. It's when they just let Punk go and light him up and just wind him up nice and tight and let him go. Punk's really good too, but man, Cena can just turn on an effing dime and just go, yep, I'm going to take advantage of that now. And it's like, holy crap, dude. That's why I got him so high. And that's why I say he might be. I say might. There's a lot of guys up there, but he might be number one.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to put a number one because there's so many that are good. And then you have great promos. Like, I mean, as always, Dusty was a great promo guy with the hard times and many others.
But those I think the reason why I'm differing on this one is mostly because your Dusty Rhodes, your Ric Flairs, it's off the cuff but not off the cuff, right? Like, when they were cutting promos, right? Those promos were something that when they're driving show to show, you could be like regurgitating and working in your head, right? And that's not to say that Cena doesn't do that. But the difference is, especially in modern wrestling's a whole different animal now, because before all you had was the crowd cheering and loud and boos, right? Now the crowd's interactive. And that's a big effing deal.
No, I agree with that.
That makes it, that ups the complexity level, right? Like, that takes it up a whole nother notch, because now, and really, we're living in a heyday where some of the wrestlers are really good at it. Cena can just turn on a dime. It's brilliant. But you know what? Seth Rollins is really good at, like, playing the puppet strings. Paul Heyman, great at playing the puppet strings, working the crowd. They know what they're going to do. He turns it on them. So, like, there's a lot of nuance to that, and it may just be where we go through this a lot in football and even baseball, right? Where you talk about the players from the past and the players now, right? Like, Ronnie Lott back in the day was like one of the most devastating safeties that you would ever have.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But now, because of the changes in the way that the NFL plays the game with rule changes and everything else, it's a different game than when Ronnie Lott played.
Ronnie Lott may not have been dominant in today's game as he was back in his day.
Because he just killed people, like, not literally, but
yeah. Like, and I was going to make a point about that too, because back in I would say everything changed. Wrestling was much more simpler until probably the Attitude Era. And then the Monday Night Wars. Because I'm not saying fans were stupid, because I grew up in that era, but fans, all they cared about was the good guy beating the bad guy, unless you were a heel fan. That's all it was. Like, this guy doesn't like this guy, or this guy did something horrible to this guy, so he's a really bad guy. So the good guy needs his revenge. And that was basically wrestling, except if you had, you had your factions and stuff, but you didn't know a lot about their real lives, about their kids, about their spouses, their families.
Yeah.
Now you're adding all that in. Plus you have to add the fact now that the fans are smarter, especially since the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars, because that became water cooler talk. So obviously the more you talk about something, the more you're going to watch it, the more you're going to learn about it. Even back in the fledgling days of the internet, there was stuff out there, and fans started to get smart about the business, especially once Vince came out, to get out of the state athletic commissions and kind of let the cat out of the bag about the wrestling business. I think that opened the door for fans to find ways to get smarter. And now in 2025, when WWE has a show that takes you behind that, fourth wall, it shows you how stories are written and all that, you just got to make the fans smarter. So yes, in this day and age, absolutely, I think it's harder to get over because the crowd is so much more attuned to what's going on. It's like going to you're a Bills fan. Bills fans are pretty smart. Like,
yeah,
it's true. And the thing is, like, we're from the Northeast, so hard work goes a long way. Like, you may not be the best player on the team, but you give it 100%, and just your work ethic and your team player, that's a big deal. So, I think, but with pro wrestling nowadays, let me get back to what I was trying to say was, um, it's just so much more complex because the fans are smarter. Back in the NFL days, back in the 80s, were we chasing, and even the 90s, were we a bunch of stat hogs and fantasy football? No.
No.
So with technology, it has made
Parlays. That's all you did was parlays.
parlays, or you get those little football digest magazines that they sell at the cash register, right? To get all your stats and stuff. So, yeah,
Once a
parlay.
year.
Yeah, yep. Yeah.
Once a year.
I remember
You get
some
your
that were like,
stats.
yep. Or the Sporting News would do like all the stats every week, but regardless, like we were limited on information. Now that we're besieged with information and technology, I mean, not just sports or pro wrestling, but in everything, people have access to information at your fingertips. It makes you smarter. So if you know that much, it makes it really hard for a guy to try to BS over on you. So I definitely think that some of the guys that were really good in the 80s would have really struggled in this day and age. But I also think a lot of your modern wrestlers today would have struggled in the 80s because it was just, I think it was so simple they would overthink it and it wouldn't work because they're so used to what today is. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
And,
I just mentioned that how underrated John Cena was on promos, and we just had like a really good 5-minute dialogue about it.
Well, it's worth it.
It is.
So let's get into Monday Night Raw because it
I'm
was
down.
a really, really good Monday
Yeah.
Night Raw this week too. Not super level, but it was really, really good. And we started off with Seth Rollins coming out, kind of laying more framework. I'm wondering if Paul Heyman's going to be referred to as the Oracle now, which
Yeah.
I kind of like. You know, the Oracle, like that little mystic feel. But so before we started recording, you were telling me how Busted Open 24/7 Bully Ray was kind of like they were frustrated with Seth Rollins because he hasn't given them the why yet, and I think he's been giving you the why the whole effing time. He's going to save wrestling, and like I think his frustrations yesterday was, or Monday was, I don't know what y'all mofos want. You don't know what you want, so I'm going to tell you what you want. And I thought it was brilliant, and I thought that whole opening segment was just perfect. You don't need to I disagree fully. Like, Heyman needs to talk, but Heyman needs his opportunities to talk. Not, Heyman is the VP, right? Like, he's the second guy now. He's not the first guy. He's the second guy. He's the representative, but he's not the lead guy. And it's different from his time with Roman Reigns because he was the vessel to keep Roman Reigns relevant. And now Seth is always there. Seth's a workhorse.
Yeah.
He's like one of the biggest workhorses in WWE.
Sometimes he's on 2 shows a week, you know? He's
a workhorse.
Yeah.
The one WrestleMania, he did both nights.
Yep.
You know, ish. You know, so Rollins is a workhorse. So you're not going to have your workhorse just kind of sit in the back while Paul Heyman hypes him up. No, it's Rollins' show. Heyman's attached himself to him. It's fine. Like, let's all woosah, enjoy the ride. I don't need instantaneous, you know, I don't need them to walk up and go, here's the script. And, like, you know, I don't need that.
Well,
I don't enough of that shit.
I don't think those guys on Busted Open either. They were like, you know, they were along for the ride. They're not giving up on this. They're just, and one thing they said that I agree with, like, they need to give this faction a name. They need to do that quick.
It's coming. It's coming. It's going to reveal itself soon. I think they're putting little dabs and dibbles out there. You know what I mean? You know, it always kind of, you got to see what takes hold and, you know, whatnot. So,
I even told, I was even watching the show and I'm like, man, I love this faction. I want to see there be almost like a brotherhood. And it's kind of, they're each doing their own things under the direction of Seth. So it seems like there's like a lot of randomness, which we ended up seeing in the match following the segment. But it's like, I want to see them more work together. Yes, Seth is the leader, but
I think I think you got to be careful with that. And I think it'll come with time because you got to keep in mind, in theory, right? In kayfabe or however you want to look at it, in theory, they took two young guys and brought them into the fold, right? You're not going to let, the teenagers take point right away. You're going to let, they got to kind of fall into the groove. And that's where Paul Heyman really comes in. And that's what we've seen over the weeks. Like, when Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed start like, what the hell are we doing? Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we whooping his ass? And Paul's like, patience, patience, calm down. It's gonna be okay.
So do you think
And
that
like,
that patience is also telling the wrestling fans, like, hey, have some patience with this too?
maybe, but not really. I don't think that's about it. I think the story that's being told, though, as it
Yeah.
applies, like you're looking for like a fully gelled community. You're not gonna get that, right? Like Randy Orton, back when it was like Triple H, Flair, Randy Orton, those guys, Batista, like they were still Orton and Batista were the youngins, but
Yep.
they kind of had to like kind of find their groove inside the organization, so to speak. And that's what you're going to have here. It's just two young guys that are going to have to find their groove. I'll tell you something that kind of warms the heart a little bit, and it's going to sound silly as hell, is seeing Bronson Reed smile. Even if it's supposed to be a maniacal smile, it's kind of cool. And then the barking, man. Love the damn barking.
Yeah.
Was it Raw where we got him like somebody came to talk to them and like Bronson or Braun Breaker starts barking at him?
I
Like,
think so. Yeah, it was when wasn't it at the beginning with like
yeah,
what was
because
the SmackDown? LA Knight or something?
yeah,
Somebody
it was
came out.
so good. It
It was like
was
the
so
attack
good.
dog. Yeah, it
I
might,
loved it.
no, I mean I think it was good at how it led into the match against Penta and Braun.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, let's talk about that. So Braun Breaker defeats Penta, and I was really torn in this one. I'm a huge Penta fan, and I know you are too.
Yeah.
And like, you're like, oh, I just need Penta, and then like that was the best way to quasi win clean was to snap Penta in half, and Braun Breaker did it. And boy, did he do it. It
Yeah,
was a great spot. There was a lot of great spots in that match,
it
too.
was.
But that damn spear, it looked devastating, and it was like, okay, I can see why Penta didn't get up.
Yep.
I do find the dynamic of LA Knight, Penta, who the hell else is in that mix? Who else? The Glommer.
Sammy.
Yeah, the Glommer.
So here's the thing. Now you got LA Knight on Monday Night Raw. So I think we talked about it last week, but it looks like people just going to be on whatever show until they
We're
come out with
willy
the draft.
nilly until the draft.
Yeah.
They won't solidify it until the draft. Right now, because of, and I think you see this a lot before the two big PLEs, right? You see it before WrestleMania, and you also see it a lot right before SummerSlam.
Yep.
Because they're going to, you got to change it up. They're your biggest shows, right? I don't want to see the same match. I want to see something different.
Yep.
And if you keep them 100% separated, you're not going to get that effect. So you need to have them mix and match. And then you're going to get those people that are like, well, then why have different brands? Because 90% of the time, I don't need a crossover. Every now and again, you
Yeah.
get a guest star, right? Like, it happens in TV all the time. Somebody pokes their head in, and you're like, oh, wow, it's that guy. He started here, and now he came back for,
Sure.
like, one episode. It's fine. Like, it's crossover season. There you go.
There we
It's
go. We'll
crossover
call it
season.
that. But no, there was a spot in the match with Braun no sold a super kick by Penta and just kind of grunted at him or something. It was a cool spot. Because Penta was working. It looked good.
It all looked good.
It all looked good. Yeah, the whole match was good. Now, they had a couple little clumsy spots, but
It was probably the least clean Penta match I've seen to date.
yeah, yeah. And there was a couple of things that just didn't work out. But did it really take away from the match? Like no, because they were
No.
trying to do some. Penta works a different style, that's for sure. So maybe Braun had a hard time matching up with his style on a couple of moves, but still, it was entertaining match. I liked it. Braun had to go over. If Braun loses, it hurts the faction. So it's
Well,
not, you're not hurting Penta by having him lose to
no,
the worst
that's why
spear
the
ever
ending.
thrown. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's why the ending was so important. Like the spear had to be devastating, and that's why it had to happen that way because the spear sells everything.
yep.
So, like, you watch that spear, you watch Penta get folded like a damn table, and you went, okay, I probably wouldn't get up from that, so let's do this.
No, and he still was
So,
selling it backstage, like later on in the show when he ended up
yep.
knocking out Chad Gable. So
Woohoo.
he wasn't hurt that bad, but Chad gets beat up a lot. I'm just gonna say.
Chad does. Maybe you should have El Grande Americano like hanging out with him to
Yeah,
protect him.
it's, yeah, El Grande. He don't. No one ever beats him up.
Nobody beats up El Grande, man. Like, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about it.
I mean, I just said Chad Gable. You brought up El Grande, and then
It's the same effing person.
yes, I know.
I
Hey,
don't care
so
what
we'll
Corey
change the
Graves says.
subject, but evidently the AJ Styles Dominic Mysterio match, as of right now, is off the cards.
It's on. It's gonna be on.
I know.
It's typical like cheap heel crap, right? Like,
Yep.
I mean, Gable's been doing it too, but like, I have a note from my doctor. Like, come on, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen.
But the New Day, not wanting to wrestle in a match, their way of doing it, like especially when like was it Adam Pearce says you're having a match, and they're like, a match?
Match.
How dare you? So
Yeah.
so
No,
yeah,
it
the New
was
Day,
good.
the New Day has become everything that they never wanted to be, and they're doing a great job of playing that. I think they're having a lot of fun. You know what's going to happen? They're going to be so good at playing bad, the fans are going to ruin it
They're
and
gonna
turn
turn
them
face
good.
again.
Yep, because the fans will
Well,
ruin it.
so with the New Day, it's kind of interesting, right? Because they finally, it was rough in the beginning, at least for me, with them making their switch, just because it's like somebody play acting to be bad, you know what I mean? And it never kind of came across as authentic. And they found that balance of, well, we're not going to be the bad heels. We're going to be the comedic bad heels. You
Yep.
know, Baron Corbin was one of those guys. Like,
Yeah.
he was really good at playing, like bum ass Corbin was a brilliant freaking character. Like, he couldn't win shit. Like, he went from looking all nice and, dandy, and he was like all disheveled. He's got like mustard stains on his shirt. It was such a great character and like underappreciated. But he was comedic in that way, right? Like, he was funny in that way. And I loved, just seeing Baron Corbin like that. And I love what New Day has finally found their groove as heels. So they're finding a way to take the comedic aspect, but work it in their favor now, and I'm glad they found their momentum on that.
Yep. So I just thought that was a good little segment after that. And by the way, we saw Dominic with the Judgment Day back there. Dominic looked fine, so I don't know what his boo-boo or ailment is, but he looked fine and dandy. So, well,
He's about to ditch Liv. He's on to the next one.
maybe he's got love pains. Yeah,
Heartache,
yeah. Old Dom.
split heart.
See, there's hope for everybody. If Dom can get that kind of quality throughout his last year or so, then there's hope for everybody.
Is that going to be his character throughout his entire career? Like, is he the modern day like Val Venus?
Oh. Hello, ladies.
He's just going to work his way through the whole.
Dom will just be like, "Hello, muchachos." Like that'll be Dom's thing.
"Hello, senoritas."
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Oh my god.
Then next was the Goldberg sit down.
So, all right, let's talk about the Goldberg sit down. So, the Goldberg sit down was probably the best way to do anything Goldberg. It told the story, and I didn't have to see him like wrestle or come to the ring or any of that. And he didn't have to shoot off the cuff. Nope. It was perfect. No qualms or ifs, ands, or buts about that. Like, that was the way to do it.
I thought it was a very basic interview, a very simple. Okay.
I don't want complex with him.
No,
I mean,
but
let's be real, man. Like, throughout his entire career, the Goldberg character is kind of a Neanderthal.
Yeah.
Like he's always just, he's like 2 words spitting like,
Yeah,
who's next?
they definitely decaffeinated him for that sit down with Michael Cole.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was all right. It didn't move the needle for me. Right? It didn't make me any
It
more.
just, it,
You
it
insulted my family. I'm mad. You embarrassed me in
my
front of
name
my
is
fans.
Domingo Montoya. You killed my family.
Yeah.
Now prepare to die.
To die.
No,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like, you're not going to get a lot of substance out of him. Like I said, his character's never really been like the Mike Wizard,
No.
if at all. So, like, you really gotta. This comes down to like the whole modern wrestling thing again, right? Like, we talk about this a lot, but the difference in today's wrestling world, you have to have more substance, and you have to also a lot of these old school guys coming back from time to time. If they don't have that in their core, you have to get substance out of them somehow. And WWE production is top notch.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get what you get.
Well, and to go back to the point about promo guys, look how good Roddy Piper was, like in his heyday. But when they would bring him back later on in his career, and I don't ever want to say anything bad about Roddy, and Roddy would do like he did a Piper's Pit with Stone Cold. He'd do random Piper's Pit as he got older. Like, he was still saying the same stuff, but it just didn't fit with today's wrestling.
Didn't hit.
It didn't hit, no. Because I'd always get excited when, Piper was coming on. It was one of my, like, childhood favorites. And, like, oh, he's still funny, but I just don't think he could adapt to
There's a little bit
today.
with that, though.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit with that. So, like, even if they're not going to the well, I think it's complicated because sometimes the passion doesn't really fit back in, right?
Yep.
Like, the passion doesn't always... Like, you don't have the same visceral, like, just frothing at the mouth that you did back in the day. And, like, you had to sell it to be believable. And you have to sell everything that you do to be believable. So it's no knock against anybody like that. Like I said, when it comes to Goldberg, less is more, right?
Yep.
Like, nobody is excited for that match. Nobody has been sitting there like a crack addict, like, yeah, give me Goldberg, freaking Gunther. Nobody said nobody at any point. They were just like, all right, if you're gonna do it, do it.
I'd be more up for it if it wasn't a title match. If it was just a straight up one.
It doesn't matter.
I just don't like them throwing the title in that. The title's too important to be put in that.
There's more to it than that, though. So here's a couple of things on that, right? So one, it's a title match, not for Goldberg. It's a title match for Gunther, because what do you get if Gunther wins? You get that Gunther beat Goldberg in a title defense. You got to rack up title defenses. That championship specifically is the working man's or woman's championship.
Right.
Right? The other one's the cinema. This is the workhorse championship. So you have to work. And nothing looks worse when you have that title and they're like, he's got like 2 defenses in like 180 days. That looks terrible.
Right.
So
Goldberg,
you make it count.
Yeah.
Actually, they saved it. Like, is this your retirement match? Yes. But what if you win the championship? Well, now, wouldn't that be quite the conundrum? It's a perfect answer. It's a perfect answer for that. That's how you get out of it. It makes it believe that, like, because it got me thinking, like, would I do it? Just because everybody's going to go in and go, it's a title match. Goldberg isn't going over. It's his retirement match. What an effing swerve if he somehow won. I know we don't want that. It's okay. But what a great swerve that would be. That would be killer. Because nobody would have seen it coming. Nobody would have even thought it was possible. And it really would screw a lot of people up. Like, I think X would melt down. Dave Meltzer's would also melt down. And, like...
I would throw something.
And it's not even worth it. He's going to turn the title right back over, like, pretty quick, right? It doesn't matter. My point...
Or he just retires and leaves the belt in the ring, and then they have another tournament or something.
No,
But
they're
I
not
don't
going to
think
do
so.
that either.
I don't want to see that.
Look, it's either you give Gunther a title defense, which is fine, or you have Goldberg go over and swerve all of us. Nobody thinks Goldberg's winning that match. He's just going to have a match and get the hell out of Dodge.
That's what I'm
He
hoping.
has a match with his hometown crowd. Or if he does win, it's going to be a DQ count out, something like that. Like, it'll be something wacky. Again, not worried about it. Maybe
Or,
Jey Uso comes down.
Or does Seth come in at some point and cash in his briefcase? Do you do that on a Saturday Night Main Event show? Or do you save that for a bigger show?
Would do it in a heartbeat. That would be like, Seth cashing in is always going to be big anyways, right? You know he's going to do it in a big spot. He's already pulled it off at WrestleMania, so like, it's like, don't know. But like, let's talk about that for a second. So if Goldberg wins and Seth comes down, it's just like, and like breaks Goldberg in half. So think about the dynamics of the crowd. Holy crap, oh my God, Goldberg won. The crowd goes nuts. It's his hometown, adopted hometown, whatever. Like, oh my God, he won. Yep. Oh my God, Goldberg won. And then burn it down, and then Seth cashes in. Like, it would be the best way to get the belt onto Seth. It would start a Seth-Gunther rivalry, which I don't think they've had much of a rivalry.
I don't think so either.
Both heels right now, but still, you could get weeks out of Gunther just whining and crying. There's so much you could do.
And that would also get you Gunther and Braun and Gunther and Bronson Reed, which would maybe turn Gunther face.
That's what people want.
But we're gonna have to talk more about this after the next match, because the Gunther promo is after the Jade and Roxanne.
I think we skipped a match.
Well, Jade and Roxanne comes up because we had Penta and Braun, and we had all those interviews, and we went to Jade and Roxanne, and then we get to a Gunther promo.
Well, we got to talk Jade and Roxanne because we've talked about it a little bit. Jade's getting a rocket strapped to her right now. She's getting launched. So it's just really interesting. Like, she's looked better. I got no qualms. It really started some stuff with Raquel, and Raquel's going to have to carry some water right now because I saw not so great reports about Dom's little squeeze, Liv.
Yeah, it could be 9 to 12 months they're saying. So
yeah, it was really bad. So we'll see. I think it's good. I can't wait until he moves on to Roxanne. Just think it's great, and I think we're gonna find out. This is why you drag out Finn Balor leaving Judgment Day, because now Liv is gone, and now you got Roxanne, and then you just have Finn take over. Finn's just been working all the dirty little angles in the back. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, no.
So
Finn's been playing his role quite well lately.
I want to see Finn get more. He's so effing good. He deserves some love, man.
Sure,
he really is. So, and that was why Edge was making that faction, was to get guys like him right. So
they've done a good job with that faction too at Judgment Day, because it was started by Edge, and they kicked Edge out, and then you had Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. Well, then they both left Judgment Day. And so, but you know what? It's kind of the little engine that could, it just keeps chugging along, no matter who they're throwing in there. So
they're kind of the wrestling equivalent of the Brat Pack, because I'm crusty and old and I remember the Brat Pack.
Yeah, because people came and go, like JD McDonough is like the Joey Bishop of the Rat Pack,
Not Rat Pack, Brat.
Oh, are you talking about the
B?
Oh, you're talking about the Brat Pack. Okay.
He's like teen heartthrob stars.
Are you talking about like NSYNC and like 98 Degrees?
No. Oh my God, you're
New
showing
Kids.
your age.
Yeah.
You don't remember who the Brat Pack was?
Oh, wait, Molly Ringwald and...
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to have to edit this video just to eliminate my stupidity moment here. But yeah, the Brat Pack. Yeah,
Yeah.
Gosh.
That's what they kind of are. Right now. So, yeah, no, I would never put them in a Rat Pack. I'm a huge Sinatra fan, so no. And honestly, I'm a huge Cannonball Run fan. if you haven't seen the movie, which good luck finding it. It's nowhere on digital anywhere. But yeah, you'll understand the appeal. Because
You
Dean
can't
Martin,
you cannot Cannonball Run with Dean Martin and Burt Reynolds.
the second one you can find on digital, the first one you can't. And the second one is nowhere near as good as the first one. The first one was like Jamie Farr and freaking Jamie Farr, Dom DeLuise, Burt Reynolds, Terry Bradshaw, like Jackie Chan, like Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin. Like, oh my God, the star power in that movie was just off the. Yeah. Anyways, this isn't a movie review show, so we won't get off of that. But yeah, so not much to say on this. It did what it needed to do, and we got Jade going over, so she'll be there.
Yeah, the ending of this match was kind of a mess, but for the first 3/4 plus of it, they did a really good job of telling the story with the size difference because Jade's so tall and Roxanne's, about half her size. But, you texted me during that match and you said that Roxanne wrestles big, and she does.
She does wrestle
She
big.
does. She does. The way she throws herself at her opponents. Her and Jade worked well together. Big improvement for Jade since she's come back on this run. But yeah, it was good. And then you had a Rusev Sheamus segment backstage. That was okay.
It didn't even register for me, but we know that's happening, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, well, just to let you know, I was watching on my wife's laptop because this one, for whatever reason, I was having a hard time getting on Netflix, and her speakers were terrible because the TVs in the hotel room, they weren't smart TVs, and so I just watched on the laptop with crappy volume. Yeah.
Matt, this is why you got to roll with like 6 million things when you go to hotels. Apple TV always gets hooked up. Universal remotes for the win.
Maybe next time. But you know what's after that little backstage segment? The best Gunther promo that Gunther has ever done in his career. Yeah. By far. That match actually made me, I want to see it now on Saturday Night's Main Event because I just want to see Gunther do what he says he's going to do, which he probably won't because it's Goldberg in Atlanta. But the lines he gave, it's not 1999 anymore; it's 2025. So he could have said, hey, that's the past, but he put a year on it, and 1999 sounds like a long time ago compared to 2025. So, and by the end of that interview, Gunther was winning the crowd over. Looked at that, he was winning the crowd over. So we keep talking about that it factor. Gunther is, I think, I know for you he's not there, but he comes across to me as more legitimate, getting better week by week.
The problem is,
he's not an exciting guy. He's not flashy. That's what he is, and I think that's.
I don't need flash. I just need it, and it's still not there. It's not there. No. I don't need flash. I need it, and I don't know what it is. Every top star has it, right? And you don't have to be the exciting guy, but you have to have it. You have to have something that people can cling on to. And being a great ring technician is not. Ric Flair is probably one of the best ring technicians ever, but in his heyday, not now, obviously. No. But
yeah,
I have to get that out for the recency bias. But Ric Flair was one of the best to ever freaking do it.
Sure.
And but he still needed mad promo skills to get over. Ric Flair is not Ric Flair without all the pomp and circumstance. So, and there isn't, maybe it isn't the right word. There's no mystique to him. There's no aura to Gunther. And that's my biggest problem with him right now as a champion, as one of the best in the WWE. The in-ring talent is undeniable. But there's just no... to use the word machismo, there's no it right now for him. And I hope he stumbles upon it. That's all I want for him. But no, it was a great promo for him, so don't take anything away from that. It's just, I need that aura to glow for him.
Okay. So, I don't know. I think I like what I've been seeing from Gunther since he's taken the title back from Jay. I see a different Gunther this time around. I see that he's got that confidence look back on his face. I definitely find his promos much more convincing the last 2 weeks. So my buy-in, but I'm a Gunther guy, so I guess I'm a little biased. So to me,
I'm hoping he doesn't. I have a concern about him, and I'm hoping this isn't the case. And my concern about him is, I worry that his mood swings with what's expected of him. So if he's going to dump the title, Jay had this issue too a little bit, not as bad, but if you know you're going to lose, they kind of telegraph it a little bit. Their promos aren't as crisp. It's just kind of blase. I'm going through the motions. I'm hitting my marks, and it's for a guy that usually hits A+, he's kind of doing B type work. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, I do worry about that with him because I just don't feel it. Cody has this every now and again too, so it's not just Gunther. Like, Cody can slip up and kind of telegraph too. So I just, like I said, just something with Gunther. Like, I just need like a little something extra.
Nope.
Somebody needs to put the sprinkles on the cake, I guess. I don't know.
I like cake. But again, I still think
say cake.
Someone say cake. I like cake. But I do really think it was his best promo work that I've seen from him.
It was.
So I like how he looks. I mean, he always dresses well. His pants, it looks like his basement's flooded a little bit from time to time, but I guess that's
oh my
how
God, don't even get me started.
After that, we go backstage, and your guy, Karrion Kross, shows up with Sami Zayn backstage.
Yes.
And it was right as you and I were talking over the weekend about what Karrion Kross needs to say to Sami Zayn, and he pretty much said what you said he needed to say.
I know. I can't even say that somebody saw the pod because we really drug out posting our stuff this week. Because we had the disaster with our original recording, and then there was a debate on, do we really want to put out the Great Outdoors? But it all worked out. But yeah,
sure.
No, Karrion Kross did exactly what Karrion Kross needed to do. The Glommer punched him in his face for his troubles. It is what it is. Look.
But then Karrion
Kross
and Scarlett, that's part of their plan. So at the end, they were laughing about it. So they're getting to Sammy. So, and I think they're fighting, and they're fighting Saturday night at the PLE. I'm going to try to be better about
that.
Like
I said, it's his role is the devil on the shoulder.
Yep.
Right? That's his role. That's who he is. He is the little devil on your shoulder. He is sitting there telling you all the shit to get you spun up. And, he's doing great at it.
Yeah.
And he's, like I said, he's in the Chelsea Green School for maximizing time for not a lot of time. He gets, anytime he's been on camera lately, money.
Yeah.
And he's been doing great work.
And I said it Saturday night. I'll say it again. I wasn't sober Saturday night, and I said it. I'm sober tonight. I'm going to say it again. Sami Zayn is turning heel. It's going to happen. I know you have your doubts about it.
He doesn't have it in him.
Oh, he's going to do it.
He's just going to glom on to the next hot face.
All right.
It's not happening. I can't still, it's so funny. My twists and turns with Sami Zayn, I'll give him his props. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, Sammy's been doing great. And now I'm just sick of him. It's not even that, he's doing anything wrong or different. I'm just sick of him now.
Right.
And it's
do you know
okay.
I got a good analogy about what Sami Zayn looks like, especially when he's sad. You know those ASPCA commercials where they show the dogs in the shelter and they're just looking up at the camera in the most pitiful way? That's Sami Zayn's sad face, his puppy dog sad face, because nobody will adopt him.
Sarah McLaughlin in the background, singing in the arms of an angel.
But I mean, so Zuzu Walk. Next time you see Sammy when he's making that, I don't know if it's a serious face or what he makes, but he always looks like one of them poor dogs on the ASPCA commercials.
I know, you're not wrong. It's just. Like I said, my sick of him is more so if he's going to turn heel, he should have turned heel when Seth made him the offer. That would have been so much more compelling and impactful. It really would have. It would have done two things. One, it would have made Sammy legitimate, and it would have hit the overdrive switch on Seth's faction. Like, it would have just launched it into orbit. But because he played Sami Zayn as Sami Zayn, and I'm the good guy, I'm gonna overcome, blah 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 blah. We've seen it all before, and he can't only have a rivalry with Kevin Owens. He's got to find a way to kind of break it up a little bit, make it a little different. Otherwise, it's just, all right, lather, rinse, repeat. Sami Zayn, it's one of those circular diagrams, like, Sammy is a face. Sammy hooks onto new faction of good guys. Sammy continues to do this, and Sammy turns
heel
bad.
faction still remains a face. Did it with the Bloodline. He was with the Bloodline. They couldn't boo him. So, I don't know.
Oh my God, so it's just kind of if he's gonna go heel, they in my opinion, they missed the opportunity, because him taking that offer would have been so effing good. It would have been such a good, holy crap, I never saw that coming kind of deal. So, it is what it is.
I don't know. But hey, a 30-second segment backstage-ish, and we've been talking about it for a while, so. Again, Karrion
Kross.
Yes, yep, and Sammy's sad face. Then the next match we have, which I think was a really good match until it ended, was the Becky and Bayley match. One thing
Those
I noticed,
two just cook.
yeah, and I was explaining to my wife, and she's like, I'm so glad that they're doing this again, because it's been going on 15 years, off and on between these two.
A hot minute.
But some of the notes I put. Well, first of all, Becky kind of dressing like the way Seth is now, all black. Does this mean anything? Remember, he's
excellent.
Bronson's in all black. I'm just waiting for Paul E to start wearing all black. I'm sorry, Paul Heyman, but I always call him Paul E. But I thought that was really good. And then I wrote this line. I'm like, this is just like old times. These two still bring the goods, and it was. Yep. It was definitely added a kind of a throwback, because the nostalgic to it, because they've been fighting for so long. And it was just like they've just never stopped working with each other, because it was still really good. The only thing I didn't like was the ending. The way that Lyra's...
It's frustrating, because I think they're eventually going to set up a triple threat, and that's to get Lyra solid. And I don't know where I go with that.
It looked clunky, though, when she got involved, and then she got kicked. She was outside the ring. And then, she's out all that time, and then she happens to just come in at this moment right when, Bayley was getting the momentum to win. It wasn't... She could have come in earlier, but it was right as Bayley was going to win. I think he was going to win. As Mark Henry said Monday on Busted Open, 2 belt shots and a table spot. Mark Henry said he's selling the whole promo. I get it. It's overselling. I think it was Bully Ray that was saying or it was one of those two, said that what they would have done was to try to have a doctor come in earlier to check on him. And then John could just threaten the doctor and not let him in, and finally let him in. But small points. But yeah, some people were saying that CM Punk's hold too long. But I mean, 2 belt shots and going through a table, you're going to be laying there for a minute.
It's too bad Cena is a heel. This is totally unrelated, but how great would it be if they tried to send a doctor out to check on freaking CM Punk, and Cena's just I'm the professor of thugonomics, he's fine. You don't need, that's my professional opinion, and force the guy back out.
Yeah, they could have done something like that, but
God,
it just felt clunky. All of a sudden, Lyra comes back in after I knew that match wasn't going to be a clean ending, but it was an outstanding match. It was really good. That was a PLE match right there that we got on SmackDown. So on Raw. Sorry. So really, you had 2.
Well, this Raw had this
Two
Raw
PLE quality matches.
Yeah, well, like, it was solid. Like, what they gave you was solid, and they ran long. Here,
Yeah,
you know,
about 2 hours
Dirty
and 40
Secret.
minutes, right?
Yep, they ran long, and
Yep.
it was beautiful. Like, it needed to run long. It ran long, and I never felt like they were up against the clock. They let
No.
it breathe.
Yep.
Like, that's honestly, that is the formula that they need to figure out for SmackDown now. Like, 3 hour. 3 hours might be too much. 2 hours might be too short.
How about
I
if you
don't know
did
why they.
2 hours with up to a 10-minute run over?
I would do more than that. Like,
You think
this is what I
2:30?
don't want to see, because Sean is going to be pissed the first time I feel like they're up against the clock and they rush it. It's going to piss me off, because there's nothing I hate more than looking at the clock and, like, there's a great match going on, and then you look up at the clock and you're like, it's, whatever time, 58, and then you're like, shit, they got to wrap this up
Yep.
in 2 minutes. I hate it, because you either see one of two things, like, they don't give a crap and they're going to run over. Well, three things. They don't give a crap, they're going to run over, or they're going to rush everything to hurry up and get everything in, or there's, like, you don't see the ending because they ran. So, it is what it is, but, like, I think SmackDown going to 2 hours is a good thing, but I also think it's possibly a negative. I think the Netflix formula is the best for wrestling right now.
That's tough to do on network TV, though. That's the only thing.
I know it is, but
How much longer does
is USA following it up with it though? Like, they have a new show that they're going to promote.
that Alien show, which is like terrible?
Don't worry about that, because when they go to 2 hours, USA's got a new show they're throwing on right after wrestling, which is fine. But again, if you start it at 10 or 10:15, who cares, USA? So long as you don't start it in progress, you can make it up. I don't know, man. Like, it's tough. Like, and USA has been always one of those unique creatures where you're like, okay, I kind of like it on USA. It's like wrestling ended and it rolled into Burn Notice. I love Burn Notice. It was a great show. And then wrestling ended and it rolled into NCIS. I'm like, all right, you're in my wheelhouse. Wrestling ended and it went to Bel Air, and it was like, I'll give it a try. And now Resident Alien, I was like, yeah, I'm out. I got to change the channel quick.
Yeah, watch.
So but my point in all that is that it's a good lead-in for the network. But I think that there's a compromise in there where you could do the lead-in and not have to neuter your main event or whatever.
Yeah, you could even have the announcers, on Friday night. You have Tessitore or Wade Barrett. Like, if it's top of the hour and they're still cooking, say, hey, those of you who are getting ready to watch Resident Alien or XYZ show, hey, hold on, because as soon as this match is over, we're going to go to the beginning. You're not missing it.
You'll see your show live.
You'll see your show live and in completion.
Yep, and that's fine.
Do something like that. Oh, by the way, speaking of announcers, Pat McAfee is going.
Time out. Sean's. This is Sean's suggestion to WWE, and I will say it every week until it happens. Main events should be commercial free. Both networks. I don't care. Your last match of the night, commercial free. Not side by side. Not none of that. Commercial free. Okay, cool. I'm off my soapbox. Continue.
Oh, so I don't know if you heard about this today, Sean, but McAfee's going to be off for quite a while. He's taking a break from announcing. I think he said it on his show earlier today, but it was put out. So he's taking a break just for a little while. I think his life is so busy, he was getting burnt out. So he'll be back at some point. But
this is about the time of year he usually takes a break anyways.
Because and then college game, is he still on College Game Day? So he's going to take his break. So, hey, nothing to sweat about. We get Corey Graves, which Corey Graves and Michael Cole together are great anyway. So
they were great, and the friendship between Michael Cole and Pat McAfee is fine too. There was no need. I've often wondered what really caused Corey Graves to kind of go to NXT, but on the flip side, I was like, Carmella had their second kid or something like that, and I was like, I wonder if they just kind of worked that out with him so he could get stable time, right? Because NXT typically operates out of Florida.
Orlando,
so,
yep.
Yep. So I was kind of curious if it was like kind of a, hey Corey, why don't you go announce for NXT for a little while, and
Yeah,
you
you,
can
you
get
travel
home
a little,
time.
yep. You won't be on the road as much. You get more time. So I could, with Hunter running things, I can definitely see that as an
He
option.
does. He does watch out for the talent.
Yeah.
He really does. Like all the people complaining that like a lot of the house shows are going away, that's to protect talent. Like I know they're running deep on talent, but you know, upkeeping that travel schedule, there has to be a work-life balance. And you and I both know that because we're in the military. So like,
Yeah.
that always gets effed up. Your work-life balance is crap.
Yep.
So it's working if I see him. So like, and I think WE was kind of running that same train. Like,
Yep.
you know, the only time you see your family, you take vacation. Now it's not like that, and it shouldn't be like that. And I don't just give Triple H that credit. I'm willing to wager Stephanie's in the back. Stephanie has also been one to watch out for talent as well. So yeah.
Kind of related, but not. Sometimes I get on this website. It's called the history of WWE.com, and it'll show like results going all the way back to like the 60s and even the 50s for some. And I think in the 80s, there was some nights at WWE, they always ran like three nights, three houses, especially on the weekends. But they had nights where they were running between matinees and then nighttime shows, like 5 or 6 cities in a day, like in a day. So like say like if Hogan was on top, and say like in the afternoon maybe they're doing a matinee at Madison Square Garden. As soon as he was done, he was off to Boston that night, and then they would do that again. Maybe Sunday the matinee would have been in Hartford, and then you would have had then he would have flown to Pittsburgh for a night. Just so it's crazy.
Yeah.
No wonder why like most of these old timers are crippled and multiple divorces and drug and alcohol problems because they weren't taken care of.
In the modern day of athletics, there's work rest cycles, there's things that need to be done to protect the bodies. You cannot physically go hard all the time.
No.
The NFL's cracked the code. A lot of, there's a reason why there's an actual medical profession that is sports science.
Yeah.
It's a matter of keeping your body in optimal shape. And wrestling for the longest time was just like a meat grinder. It was going to chew up the wrestlers, and those who could endure endured. Those who couldn't. And it was, feast or famine for a lot of these guys. So, I appreciate everything they've done, but what they're currently doing is definitely makes more sense. That's why I said, look, if you do the beer math, right, not even taking into account PLEs, if you just do the napkin math, there's 52 weeks in a year, right? That's 104 dates a week or a year.
Yeah.
Where you can hit cities. That's 104 different cities if you wanted to hit. That's not counting PLEs, special events, one-offs, and everything else.
So that's another between PLE, Saturday Night's Main Event, other thing. So what? Maybe another 25, 30 at most. So still 130, 135 days. Plus, doing fanatics conventions and all this stuff. It's a different world. You're not going to see guys doing the 300 dates anymore like they used to. Just like
should they?
Even if a wrestler does 100 dates in a year this year, that's still a lot. Like if you think about it, like, do you see like some of your major musical acts doing 100 shows a year? I mean, Taylor Swift probably did her last tour, but I mean, you're not going to see all your major acts every year doing 150, 200 shows. And back in the day, you had wrestlers working 300 plus days, but actually, with all the 2 days, they were doing 400 or 500 matches a year. So it's crazy. The body can't handle that. So
yeah, no, it's smart. You had to dial them back. They can still hit the gym, drink their chocolate milk afterwards, and recover, man. It's all gravy. So, okay. So after that, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we get Raquel Rodriguez
Yeah, that was a
And
match-ish.
Roxanne Perez
Match-ish.
jumping Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
You know, there's a great picture on WWE.com of the Rhea Ripley through the Slim Jim table because sponsors, more sponsors.
Yes. We elaborated
Just
on that.
gonna be.
Yeah. More
I know
sponsors.
we did. I'm not gonna run it down. Like, so long as we don't call it the Slim Jim table, you know, every time.
Yep.
Like, if we just they pull out a table and it's got a Slim Jim logo on it, fine.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not gonna complain.
No, it is what it is now. But
I agree.
it was a good segment. Like, it was an extended
It
brawl.
was.
For something that wasn't even an official match, it was just kind of an impromptu fight. Because no referee came out.
You know what's getting frustrating, though? Now Rhea Ripley's back to, like, gnawing with Judgment Day. And if you're going to do it, you might as well bring Damian Priest back, too. And then Liv can come back, find out that Roxanne stole her man with chicken nuggets, and then she can get hers, too. Whatever. It's fine. It's just, again, this goes back to I don't want to see the same act over and over again. And I don't want to see... I wanted Rhea Ripley as far away from Judgment Day as possible. There's bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
So
I agree. There's more people out there. But it was good for what it was. And then I think right from there, I think it was after that segment is when Penta might have kicked Gable before the main event. I think so.
yes,
Which Penta was still selling the spear, so excellent work by Penta.
that's good.
He did go back and refresh up his makeup, though, so he could look good for the camera. But yeah, he was still selling
That's
the ribs.
fine.
But Jay Cody, man, another PLE match, like 2 in a row.
Yeah, and there was times. Okay, so I'm just gonna get in my want, my desire, because in that match, at one point, Jay hits Cody with a crossroads, and I popped huge because one of the things I want Jay to do, and I want him to do it over this year. You know, one of the biggest things in Knox against Jay is his move set is limited. And a lot of people crap on him because his move set is limited. I want Jay to start stealing everybody's effing moves. Steal a move from every big match that you're in. So now, he's definitely integrated the sleeper hold as one of his go-tos. Like, he does the sleeper now, it's pretty regular. Now I want him to start using crossroads and add to that. So I want to see this continue to progress where he just becomes this chameleon where he's just pulling in everybody's moves. Then have him wrestle Randy Orton and freaking RKO somebody. That'll
Sure.
be fun too.
And actually, I thought his moveset, they did a lot of stuff in that main event. I mean, that went on pretty long, too. Because I think it started...
it was great.
I think it started like quarter after the hour, and the whole segment went quite a while. But, no, I thought it was really good. And, like, again, to build on to your point, he's just really good. Jay is becoming adapting to styles of different opponents.
Yeah.
Like, he and Cody, like, really worked good together. And there was a lot of, especially the ending, when they were just back and forth, and Cody finally took it with the super Cody cutter and into the final crossroads. I thought the finish was done really well. Jay does not look weak. I'm hearing rumors that they're talking about somewhat pushing Jay, maybe even back into the tag team division, but that was WrestleKedia or Sportskedia, and they're wrong most of the time. But no,
Why would you do that?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't think
There's
WWE
absolutely
would do it.
no reason. That guy, I'm sorry, he's
Jay needs to be
established himself.
he's sniffing around the world title now for a long time. He's up on that level. Yep. He's going to go away from the world title picture. He'll probably have a side feud at some point. I still think he's going to do business with Gunther, but Jay's always going to be sniffing around the title picture, whether it be this title or if somehow he ends up on Smackdown and goes for the cinema belt. But Jay, I think, is always going to be on that level. So for all these,
ever want to see Jay go for the cinema belt. So, all right, I'm going to knock Jay a little bit right now. One of the keys to the cinema belt is you have to be able to act, right? Jay is very raw on the mic. He's okay on the mic. He's not good on the mic. And if you are on SmackDown and you are going for the cinema belt, you have to be awesome in the ring and on the mic. You put Jay up against John Cena, and John Cena is going to obliterate him on the mic.
Yeah.
And that's important, because if that happens, Jay is done. And he did it to freaking Austin Theory. He destroyed Austin Theory with a promo. So let's not forget that.
Well,
So,
I mean, Cena's gone in 6 months, but I'm talking about if he ever went to SmackDown next year or whatever.
the only time I want to see him going for it is it's got to be somebody from the family that's got the title. You know, so it is what it is, man. Like, I can't. Jay is fine on Raw where he's at. The Jay Cody thing is a one-off. Cody is obviously running for the cinema title.
Yep.
Both faces. I brought this up in one of our podcasts. Like, all 4 semifinalists on the men's side were faces.
Yeah.
Well, 3 faces and a glommer, but they were all faces in theory. And then, you know, so you knew it was going to get uncomfortable. And now it's even more uncomfortable. But like we talked about in the other pod, Randy can do heel stuff, stay a face, because that's who he is.
Yeah,
He's the Viper.
his work is heelish.
Yes. So you still have that natural like heel face thing, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I would much rather see Orton go over and get another kick at the can against Cena than I would Cody. So Cody can come later, but I think there's a good rivalry there with Orton and Cody.
15 and
there's
17.
a story to be told for a while now.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, let's get back into it. Let's talk about the PLE for this weekend. Big deals, big happenings. So we got Night of Champions, which isn't happening at night. It's happening during the day.
But it's
1 o'clock on Saturday, noon your time.
well, nighttime for Saudi, but that's all right.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's okay. Afternoon wrestling's better.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
Well,
So,
it's all good because the NASCAR race, the Cup race, is Saturday night in Atlanta, so there's no conflict of schedules for us personally. That'll like.
I had the same thought. I was like, "Oh, good! I get to watch the race. I don't have to worry about a conflict here."
Yes, another day where we ignore our families for the sake of wrestling and NASCAR.
Hey! We have content. We have to provide the world.
We do. That's right. Hey,
we have people actually commenting on our freaking TikTok, so I need to get more out there.
John Cena might be trying to. I mean, Seth Rollins might be trying to save wrestling, but we're trying to save the world. We're trying to make the world a better place.
Of course. Who doesn't?
No.
All right. So the first match, as always, we'll make our predictions if we want to call how the match is. I'm not gonna, belabor the point. So the first one up is Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross. I hate to say it. Actually, I don't hate to say it. I think you put Kross over. I think you use this as a launch pad for Kross.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
And then and if Sammy is truly following the path that you're talking, I think that this could be a catalyst for him to really lose his crap and go nutso and turn heel. So, and then you can have storylines like Jey Uso being like, "Yo, Uso, what's going on?" Blah, blah, blah. I still think it's a missed mark. He should have taken Seth's deal. But if you're going to do it, Karrion Kross being the catalyst behind it would be really kind of cool.
And don't do it Saturday night either. Don't have the heel change on Saturday. Like
No.
No. Yep. Sammy needs to have an internal war with himself to finally.
Yes.
He's got to come to terms with it himself. Karrion Kross, of course, will do his best to help glide Sammy towards that path. But at the end of the day, because Sammy always wants to do the right thing and be a good dude, and never puts himself first. So it's going to take time for him to change his mindset, I think, to where he finally, like, at some point just says, screw it. Like, doing all this for years, helping people out, having people's back, what has it gotten me? Sure as hell hasn't got me a world title. But maybe if I start going into business for myself and looking after number one, things will go my way. So I think, but that's going to take time. I think the match itself will be good. I don't know what the match order is. I would think that they would put probably the women's Queen of the Ring
We'll
match
see.
first, but
I
we don't
I'm
have
not
to.
even trying to predict that
It just seems the way they're
because
going with these. They usually put one of the big matches on first, but if they do Karrion Kross and Sammy, that's fine. I don't think it'll be, but for podcast sake, because the order that's on the internet, we'll go that route. But I think it should be a fun match, but I think Karrion Kross needs to go over.
I do too. I think he needs it more than Sammy. Sammy, you can have stack L's and he'll be fine.
I want to see Karrion Kross use a lot of his mixed martial arts background because he has that mixed martial arts.
I think he will.
I think they need to start incorporating that more in his character instead of a stand-up wrestler. They kind of do with Aleister Black, but Aleister Black's always done it. But if we want to see a new element of Karrion Kross, let's show a little bit of the real Karrion Kross in this story of him coming and stop not doing just backstage segments, but we actually get to see Karrion Kross in the ring, which hopefully leads to seeing more of him in the ring as time goes on.
I agree.
When's the last time he's been on the ring?
I don't even know, and I don't know the logic behind it, and I'm really not trying to figure it out. It is what it is, man.
Yep.
He'll do his thing. So after that, you get Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. Who you got? I took the first one on the last one.
I think it's going to be physical.
Let's get physical.
I would say Rhea. Rhea should win, but I think Roxanne Perez is going to be the wild card. If she's at the show, does she try to come in and interfere to help Roxanne, or is Roxanne just trying to beat up Rhea for herself? I think Roxanne gets involved. What I really think would happen is Roxanne gets involved and causes Raquel to lose the match to Rhea, and that keeps the tension going in the Judgment Day.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or does Roxanne help Rachel win the match against Rhea to try to gain her acceptance? But I just see the Roxanne as the type to be like chasing somebody else for acceptance. Like, I don't see her being that type of character.
This is all different based on Liv Morgan's injury.
Yeah, this is fast.
There's two aspects that makes this one a challenging look. So the first thing that makes it challenging is the injury. The second thing that makes it challenging is it's Saudi, right? Like, there is a cultural aspect that's a challenge in this. And I don't know if you run interference like you typically would. So I'm gonna say Raquel Rodriguez finds a way to come over. We'll assume that there'll be some interference, but I have a very low confidence rate on that. But I think I like the Roxanne acceptance thing, but it all comes down to what are they doing with Judgment Day.
Right.
And I think it comes down to, I don't see Raquel as the leader of Judgment Day, kind of like Liv was the quasi-leader. Yep. I think we'll start to see Finn ascend into that leadership role. I think there's some 3D chess going on here, and it's just a matter of who's out, right? I don't think you're gonna have Perez go out right away. I think that, I think Finn's gonna stoke that relationship between Roxanne and Dom, and I think what really will happen is eventually now Dom will be on the outside looking in, and that'll let him kind of break out on his own a little bit, because I think that'll eventually lead to SummerSlam where it's a IC title between him and Finn. So I think that's how it's going to shake out, but there's a lot of variables here that aren't hashed out yet, and I think a lot of that's due to Liv Morgan's injury, and I think Raquel might just be the fill-in. Women's tag titles would be nice to get off of them now.
Yep.
Since she's gone for a while. I really hope they don't just do the
the Naomi thing and just plug a new one in there with Roxanne. I don't want to see Roxanne wrestle tag. I want her singles. She's too good. But we'll see where it goes. But they got to figure out something for those women titles in quick.
A tournament would be just fine with me.
Yeah, it might have to be that because I don't know. But they haven't defended them in eternity. You got Evolution coming up. They got to clean that up.
Yep.
So
they do. They have a short time to do it.
Yeah.
And then
all right,
next match.
So next match. United States Championship, Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. I'll just go easy. It's Fatu.
Yep.
Period. End of story. I think this solidifies him as a face. I think that Jimmy will get involved. I think that JC, whatchamacallit, will get involved. Yep. So,
and I think that Saturday afternoon, I think that's when you might see the Jimmy Fatu come together after the match. I don't think it would be rushed there. I think they teased us with it on Monday night Friday night at SmackDown. They teased us with the thought of Fatu and Jimmy reconciling and becoming a duo. I think you could pull the trigger on that on Saturday night at the PLE. Especially if Jimmy comes out and he helps Fatu, especially because JC will get involved. And who knows, maybe there's another Tonga Loa or one of the other ones comes out. But I think Tonga Loa's.
They got another guy that's in the building now, too. A new one.
Where do they come from? Are they made like in a lab? Are they like genetically like recreated? Like every time you turn around,
Samoa,
there's another.
Dude.
It's a little island. How they fit all those people on that island?
It's like Pokemon. You got to catch them all.
Yeah, because then they just take off and they move to like California and Florida because that's where they're all from now.
Insert Will Ferrell doing the more cowbell thing. Like, you get a Samoan, you get a Samoan. So, so there's another one in the pipe right now. And
Viva.
Yeah, it'll be great. So.
And the only prescription is more Samoans.
More Samoans. Not the cookies, the wrestlers.
Yes, those are good
so
too.
After that, yes, they are. So after that, for Queen of the Ring final, we got Asuka and Jade Cargill. I don't know where to go on this at all. I don't know. So I'm going to go Asuka on this one, only because I still think the love triangle reels its ugly head here and cost Jade. That will set up the pre-setup leading into SummerSlam, which is next month.
Yeah, I think it's Asuka
or July. Or August.
I think it's Asuka too because I don't think Jade's quite ready yet for a world title shot. She's getting there.
No,
but I think having her be in the finals of this tournament, that shows that that's coming in the future. I just think Asuka's a smart choice for this. I mean, since she's come back,
Asuka Io.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And how long have fans been clamoring for an Asuka Io match?
Asuka Io will be fun.
Yes, that was going to be my next point, because
it just popped in my head. I was like, who would she go after? I'm like, ooh.
Does Jade Io make that much noise? No, doesn't put my butt in the seat.
Asuka Tiffany doesn't do it either.
No, and Jade and Tiffany doesn't do it. So it's Asuka and Io at SummerSlam.
Believe it or not, I think the title on Raw for the women is more prestigious than the one on SmackDown.
Yeah,
but just saying.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool, and that makes sense. So I think I am going. I feel better about my choice of Asuka right now. So, all right, King of the Ring final: Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton. Rhodes, the Viper. Like, my gut's been screaming at me, go Orton. I think we get a Orton Cena too. It'd be nice to see Orton break off and go, see him chase somebody else, but yeah, I'm going to go Orton. I think because Orton Cena would give me a really solid match.
and then Orton beating Cody doing heel tactics would also stoke that rivalry that's always been sitting on the back burner, because stories, and they're not using them right now. That's the important part. This is the setup. This is the setup match for all this. Because when it goes, I'm telling you right now, Cody Randy is going to be a 3-match series easily, and they're going to go deep.
So,
because those two are tied at the hip.
Here's my conundrum with Orton. If Orton turns heel Saturday night to beat Cody, now you got Orton a heel against Cena, who they're trying their damnedest to make a heel. Man, if you make Orton a heel and he fights Cena, Cena's going to become the baby face of SummerSlam by de facto.
No, because Orton can still do Orton things. Orton's the ultimate chameleon, and the ultimate chameleon. Orton is not locked into face or heel at all, because this is what we were talking about in his other match, his qualifying match. Orton can do heel things.
That's true.
Because that's what Orton always does.
You're thinking he does dastardly heel stuff to Cody, I
think that there's something done that crosses the line, but not overtly, right? It could be I don't know. I'm sure there's something Randy could do, and it could be blown off as it is what it is, whatever happens. But yeah, I think I gotta go Randy, and it's more about the match setup for SummerSlam. I'm not ready for Cody Cena yet. I'm not ready. And the conundrum in this is that either way, you're getting a rematch. So give me Cena, give me Randy, and I want Randy to go over. Because now it's the Never Seen 17 and Mr. 15. And he's only 2 away, so I don't know. It is what it is, but yeah.
Do you think Orton is Orton going to go over Cena at SummerSlam, or does Orton take another loss? Or is that when you pull the belt off of Cena, I mean?
I think you do it in a way that Orton goes over, gets the belt. Because now Cody can chase Orton. And then you do all the storyline build. Now all the history comes out. Now all the back and forth and all that good stuff comes out. And then once he does that, you put Cody in a position which cost him his match against Cena, which is Cody is going to have to go above and beyond. And Randy can just do Randy things. He's the Viper. Randy's one of the few, if not the only wrestler that can flip-flop between heel face, and nobody gives a shit. Because he's that good, but his wrestling set is heelish. So, it is what it is.
I just wonder if Orton beats Cena at SummerSlam, where does that leave Cena? For the last 4 months or 4.5 months of his...
It's all about the build-up. It's all about the build-up, right? SummerSlam's been kind of my consistent metric in the mark where the flip from heel to face for Cena happens.
Okay. And you've been holding true to that too since the flip.
Yep. I think that's where the flip starts, is at SummerSlam. So, however the lead up burnout is, and the problem is that if you're going to do that, you cannot have Cody Rhodes doing that, because that means I could do a storyline where Cody Rhodes decides he has to go above and beyond and do heelish shit, but it's more believable
if Randy does it. Absolutely.
Yep. Because Randy just does it because Randy's Randy.
Yep.
So, if he pokes you in the eye, if he, whatever, Randy's going to do Randy things.
Yeah, this is a toss-up for me,
I think the build-up, because the other good thing is once you get the belt off of Cena, you also get you get the build-up to him being a face.
Yeah.
You get to watch him stumble and bumble a little bit, too. I hate to say it though, he's been wrestling really effing good.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is not something where you just kind of go, yeah, it's done. You really got to give it to him. So, and I'm real interested in this Punk Cena match because, let's face it, neither of them are spring chickens anymore. So,
But I think with their experience,
let's get into it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be actually a really good match. Because I think both guys are so good.
This is going to be cinema of
Oh
cinema.
yeah, the psychology.
I really do.
Yeah, the psychology should be really good in this one. You got two experts at ring psychology. They're older, so they don't do all the crazy spots. But what they can still do, back and forth with each other, I think is going to be more than adequate to keep the fans entertained and engaged. I think the match will tell a really good story. Punk will have his almost moment. I'm sure something will happen. Probably see Travis Scott or somebody else come out and run interference. So we can hear Cody's belt smack off the head of another opponent. What they need to do with that belt, they need to take a hammer to it backstage and put some dents in it, just so it's Cody. So like Cena can walk around and go, he can go,
so
yep,
good.
Cody Rhodes, look,
Cody Rhodes,
our truth, Randy Orton, CM Punk, just point to the dents that he put in the belt.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Either dents or just put a little dab of blood, like, it becomes the blood title. Like, oh look, here's Cody Rhodes' blood. Here's oh yeah.
Well, that would have made sense if he was busting people open like every time with the belt shot. That'd be perfect. But I just think that
you know what we haven't seen in a while? Blood.
Yeah.
We have not seen a lot of blood lately.
It was the last time, well, intentional blood was Jimmy, when Gunther attacked Jimmy outside the ring and busted him open.
But this is why it should be rare. Because when it happens next, it's going to be big.
Yep.
And it's going to be important. So, yeah. So, who you got? John Cena, CM Punk, man?
John Cena.
I got Cena.
I got Cena too.
Like I said, I don't see him losing that title at the earliest at SummerSlam.
Yeah. And I'm sure there'll be a kick to the balls and a belt shot involved.
I do find it interesting. Like, that we're already recycling somebody from his farewell tour. I do find that a little perplexing. But I can live with it.
What do you mean? Well, they did that with Ron Killings, or R-Truth.
That doesn't count. That was different. That was a unique circumstance. That was a unicorn. My point is that, like, we're already back to recycling dudes. And there's one dude, he hasn't wrestled yet. Your Tribal Chief.
Yeah.
He has not wrestled Roman Reigns on this farewell tour yet.
Do you think he does?
And he's got some... Depends on when Reigns decides to show up for work.
Yeah.
I don't know. If we see Reigns, like, late July, leading up... Well, wait. When's SummerSlam? August 2nd?
Yeah, very, very early August.
2nd and 3rd, right? Like...
Yeah,
Yeah, so... Rough one. Yeah, that means right after maybe Saturday night's main event, he shows up. But I don't think he, well, let's look through the roster again. So of the cards, he doesn't really have a beef with Cody or Randy, so we can't put him there. Maybe something with the Jacob and Solo match. That's all family, so maybe, but I don't know. Like, do you break the glass for a Saudi show for him? I don't know. You already got John Cena, you already got CM Punk. I don't think you need him.
And I was going to say, do you think it's important that Roman Reigns and Cena have a match? Is it really that important in the grand scheme of things?
I think it's a misstep if they don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice to, but I mean, it's...
Well, no, because you have to look at who he's... Like, set R-Truth off to the side, right? Like, he needs to be off to the side. Like, that's the exception, not the rule. So, right now, Cena has been engaging with some of the hottest stars right now. Like him or hate him, Roman Reigns is one of the biggest stars still on a
Sure.
paycheck. So it's a misstep if he doesn't engage with Roman Reigns. Now, I will say that we talked about this a few weeks ago. Roman Reigns hasn't fully become a face. The fans are trying to make him a face just because they miss him. But Roman Reigns is not a face yet. So if Roman Reigns is going to remain as the current Roman Reigns, that means Roman Reigns can't engage with John Cena until after
The face turn.
the turn.
Unless the way they
Which
get,
is
unless,
interesting.
because we've been talking about Rock Roman, I don't know if that's going to happen next year, but to use Cena as a catalyst for Rock and Roman, but I don't want to see the Rock.
You wouldn't get that until late anyways. You're not going to get that until late. So I think that the Cena stuff is interesting, but like I said, I really do think SummerSlam's like the perfect timing for him to drop the title and start the face or heel to face flip. And the reason why is it gives you September, October, November, and December. It gives you 4 months. September's kind of a wash because he's going to have to go on his redemption arc, because he's going to have to figure out, like, all right, you know, whatever catalyst sets him off, he's going to have to take some bumps and boo-boos and ouchies, you know, working his way to back being to the guy that he's supposed to be. And then I think one of the interesting aspects of this is Elimination Chamber. And I think, I did it again.
Survivor Series.
Survivor Series, War Games. I would really be interested to see Cena in a War Games match. You know, so like Team Cena versus whoever the heel du jour is, probably whoever is closing out his career in December. I would totally do that. Like, so whoever's the guy, whoever's the one that's going to do that, then the soup du jour there. And I think it makes for an interesting story arc for him, because if he dumps it at SummerSlam, and this is all leading to Survivor Series, and he's got to put a team together, well, who better than Ron Killings, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton? You know, so do we see that arc where he's just got to grovel and eat crow to get the best team
CM
together?
Punk, maybe even.
Punk.
Yeah.
So, like, what an interesting dynamic if he's up against, you know, Team Heel, whoever that is, and which, at that point, it might be Seth. But I also think that it's whoever is going to end his career. You know, whoever that last match is, and we all know that he knows who it is. We don't, but we know he knows. So whoever that is, I'm willing to wager that, because what you get is, over the holidays, you get extra exposure to whoever the guy that's going to end it is. You get your Avengers story for a little while, which is all War Games is. So, yeah, what a great way to go. Like, have him groveling all the way to War Games. Like, comes out of SummerSlam and just got to eat shit.
Kind of like what happened.
All the way
Kind of like what happened with Roman Reigns in the Bloodline last year, trying to find the fifth man.
They did it wrong, though.
I know, but I'm saying the
Roman,
same.
they did it wrong.
Yeah.
You know, they went like total, like, Fast and the Furious, like, family. And that's all he said. And they were like, okay, Roman, else forgiven. And they come running back. And it's just like, bro, they should have had him take lumps. He should have had been saving them in matches. He should have had to do so much. And it was like, one day they woke up, they were like, oh shit, we got to put this team together. And they were like, okay, you know, hey, Jimmy, come with me. All right, dog, your family. Like, I hated that. That should have been like a 2-month, like, Avengers Assemble type thing.
Well, if Survivor Series October or November? It used to always be around
November.
Okay, because
November.
I know it used to always be right around Thanksgiving. So
it was on Thanksgiving weekend last year.
Okay, good. Yeah, because that's a good time for it, because it gives enough time for him to do that. And then right after that, he's only got 3 weeks left, and his retirement match is like what?
That's my point. Right before, that's why I said
before Christmas, right? Like the 23rd, I think, is his last match.
That's why I said whoever is going to be the guy needs to be the leader of the opposing faction at War Games.
Yeah. And then
So you protect him a little bit in doing that too, because you can have him laying out. He doesn't have to burn. The other four can kind of carry the water, and yeah.
well, the way he's been going, he could probably start first. The way he's been last couple times we've seen him, or at least earlier. But no, he'll go last. I'm pretty sure. But here's something too with Cena. If WWE's smart, I think that they have to put him in the Hall of Fame next year. He just retired. I think you put him in the class of 26 right away.
Oh no, without
It's a no-brainer.
He's not in already?
No.
Are you sure?
Yep, positive.
Well, Ray's still active, and they put Ray in.
Yep, but they have not put Cena.
Okay, well then he goes in next year. Like, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
That's your headliner.
Yeah.
Period. Like, there's no debate about that. That's your headliner.
And really,
you don't wait.
And you know what I would do too? Because I know that John Cena's last match, it's in Boston. He'll be a face by then. It's going to be a love fest. If I am WWE on his retirement match, I think that's when you tell him that you are going into the Hall of Fame. Like they should. I think they should do it. Make an exception. Make the announcement early, like right before his last match or after his last match. They should just.
Is his last match a Saturday night's main event?
Probably.
It's terrible.
It'll be a 14-minute match with 36 minutes of commercials.
It's going to be the whole show.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 10 hours of commercial. You know what it's going to be? Like,
Woo, did you see that?
Like, I
Get
did.
some lightning going on here.
You remember, like, you've watched heavyweight fights before, right? Like, so, like, that's what it's going to be. Like, it's going to be like the tail of the, so you finish all your mid-card stuff, and you get to the main event, and, like, you get all the, like, tail of the tape, all this and that, and then you get the introduction of the first guy, and he comes out like Travis Scott, taking 10 hours to get to the ring. That's going to be all of Saturday night's main event. It's going to be like, the card for Saturday night's main event. John Cena versus whomever. Like, that's it. That's the whole card. That's all we're doing. And it'll just be like a whack fest for, like, John Cena.
Yeah,
I don't know how else you do it, because if it's on Saturday night's main event, unless they're burning all their commercials now so they can run that live,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, no delays or whatever.
No, they'll.
But they got to clean that
They
up.
do.
That the last one was terrible.
Yeah, it was. It was worse. Yeah, it was horrible. But no, that was just my thought about Cena. My camera's doing wonky things because there's thunder and lightning and it's getting dark. But cinema. But no, six matches on Saturday, big card. But like you said, Saudi's tossing out. Man, they're just throwing money out.
They're gonna get their money.
They are. But I think it's gonna be a fun card, good show. A lot of hype behind this show. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's an afternoon show. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to talking about it too.
Yeah.
I'm back in my environment, so I can, like, take notes and chill. And
yep, me too.
And my pool pump's broke, so I'll be watching it inside.
Inside, yeah. And I think my insect killer died on me, but the mosquitoes have not been too good.
Look at the green light.
Green light.
Green light. All right, man. Let's wrap it up.
Sure.
Tell the folks where they can find us.
They can find us, excuse me, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TikTok, and Instagram. And our social network, our social media coordinator is back with us after a short hiatus. So please, thank you. Those who did like and respond to our videos, we appreciate your comments. We do try to get them back as soon as possible. We'll at least try to like them, and if we do try to respond as quick as we can. So we like to be engaged with our fans, and some people have been making some really good comments, Sean. There's some thought behind it. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep.
Keep it coming, folks. Keep it coming. Let's talk.
And lastly, totally not wrestling related, but happy anniversary from me and my wife. Friday will be 10 years we'll be together, so she's a saint. for putting up with me. Sean could attest. So
Especially Saturday. Oh wait, she left. And then
she was smart. She went like, "Can you take me home at 9 o'clock?" She was tired, and then let the shenanigans begin. Look at you get a light show in this podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to get us out of here before Matt gets electrocuted. Again, keep those comments coming, man. We're loving the engagement. And as always, everybody have a great time. Let's all watch Night of Champions and SmackDown. SmackDown's going to be big, folks, because after that pipe bomb, keep in mind, we have yet to hear CM Punk's rebuttal.
Yeah.
So, big things coming to SmackDown. Both SmackDown and Night of Champions are in Riyadh. Going to be a good wrestling weekend.
Also,
so as always,
next Monday, I think Raw is a special start time of 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. So for some reason, they have an early
good catch.
Early start time in Pittsburgh next week. So, and again, 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon Eastern for Clash of Champions.
Yep. So again, folks, thank you for all your support lately. Been loving it. Sorry about all the mistime stuff, but we're back in the zone. Regular pods coming to you.
Get in the zone.
And as always,
podcast zone.
More sponsors. This car that Bronson Reed has been slammed on is brought to you by AutoZone.
Get in the zone.
Yeah, announcer table brought to you by 84 Lumber. All right, we're out, folks. Have a good one. Enjoy this weekend. It's going to be a blast, and we'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.
Peace.